Prices continue to be at an all-time high in San Diego, but what is causing most San Diegans to be priced out of the market? Here to comment, Jim Bottrell, sitting right next to me, the Jim Bottrell Real Estate Team. So nice to see you, sir, on a Saturday. Thanks for coming
Thanks
in.
for having me.
So why are there so few homes for sale? What is causing the shortage?
Well, it's because 82% of people have an interest rate that starts with a 2 or a 3. And from the COVID and all the other things that were happening that drove the interest rates as low as they did, it drove the interest rates down to where they are unwilling to give up that interest rate. So normally a family will, throughout their lifetime, they're going to upsize 4 times, downsize twice. But right now what's happening is they are not doing that because their interest rate is so low. So the saying is, I used to love my home, but now I love my interest rate. So, yeah, exactly.
It makes sense. As somebody who recently bought in the last couple of months, I would have loved one of those interest rates.
Yeah.
So at what point do you think people will start to sell? Where will interest rates need to get to? Well, first of all, before we get to that, do you think interest rates are going to go down in the near future? We keep talking about inflation. They keep raising it. What's your thought on that?
Well, the Fed has finally decided that they're going to start to open up, to ease, and they're talking about possibly 4 reductions as we get closer to the election. But each one of those is going to be a quarter point. So that's a total of 1%. So right now, the Fed does not determine what mortgage rates are, but they are a leading indicator. They do influence it quite a bit. So mortgage interest rates, most of what I'm seeing right now are between 6.5 and 7 is what people are getting right now. So if we go 1% down, now you got 5.5 to 6. I think that we're going to get to maybe 5.7, which will bring a lot of new buyers into the market. But it's not going to bring the sellers. It's not going to be enough of a drop for them to give up that interest rate that's 2.5, 3 to go to that, unless of course they're leaving California.
Yeah, so that's my question. So when do you think that the sellers will change their minds and decide to start selling? Because why wouldn't you hang on to that 2.5, 3% interest rate?
Well, we ran an experiment in my office on that actually, because we were trying to figure it out. I mean, my team, we were sitting around about a month ago in a meeting, and we were just like, at what point in time do the sellers actually start showing up? And so I said, well, let's just run an experiment. Let's say, we've got 30 people inside the room. The scenario is that you are a family, your house doesn't meet your needs anymore. Either you're expanding or you're contracting, either way, but your house doesn't meet your needs, but you have a 3% interest rate. So theoretically 3%. I'm going to start rattling off interest rates, and you tell me what interest rate you will give up your 3% interest rate and go to that. I said, put your hand in the air. So I said, okay, 7%, no hands. 6.5, no hands. 5.5, no hands. 5, we've got 3 hands out of 30. So 3 people out of 30 said, if I can get 5%, I will give up my 3% interest rate and get a house that better meets my needs. And then we went to 4.5, and that was the majority, and then the rest were at 4. So that told me right about 4.5% is when we see right now that people will start to, kind of en masse give up that 3% interest rate. The problem is, I think we're going to get there.
You don't think we're going to? That was my next.
No.
We got about 20 seconds left. What's your forecast for this year?
It's going to be more of the same. We're going to have, as interest rates come down, we're going to see more buyers enter the market, but we're not going to see more sellers. So that will happen. We will see prices go up. Everything I look at says somewhere between 5 and 6% appreciation this year. So that's good for people who already own homes. As I always say, renting is terrible. Don't do it. Today, that house is cheaper. If you buy it today, it's cheaper than it will be 6 months from now or a year from now. And if the interest rates drop, you just refi into a lower interest rate. Get the house now.
Sounds good. Jim Bottrell, always great to see you.
All right, thanks so much.
Have a nice night out with your family.
I will.
He's going to go grab some Italian with his wife and lovely kids here in the studio. Thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks.